OK, news just into us concerning Newcastle United of the Premier League and the attempted takeover by PCP partners. So now the tribunal of Newcastle United's takeover has been adjourned to next year. So it's off for another year. Both parties have agreed to go to arbitration in 2022 due to issues with the disclosure of evidence. So Newcastle and the would-be buyers, PCP partners, have asked for full transparency of the case from the Premier League. And we understand that has not been agreed. As a result, the takeover tribunal has been put back to next year. If you remember the context, this will be a blow to Mike Ashley, Amanda Staveley and her consortium PCP partners who were hoping for the long-running takeover to be pushed through before the new season. The tribunal had originally been penciled in to take place this month, so July 2021. But both parties have now agreed to go to arbitration in 2022. Joint statement from Newcastle and the Premier League says the parties attended a hearing today in the case between Newcastle United and the Premier League. The main hearing of the arbitration has regrettably now been adjourned till early 2022 due to issues with the disclosure of evidence. The parties will be making no further comment at this time. So Newcastle United's takeover tribunal will take place in 2022. More on that as we get.
How's everybody doing? It is Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again, and yeah, it wasn't what I was planning to do this evening. I was out and about with family, but news broke a couple of hours ago, and it's the worst possible luck. The club put a statement up on the website to explain that the parties attended a hearing today in the case between Newcastle United and the Premier League. The main hearing of the arbitration has regrettably now been adjourned till early 2022 due to the issues with the disclosure of evidence. The parties will be making no further comment at this time. And this comes from the club, who likes not to comment, and the Premier League and Richard Masters, who are doing their best impression of an ostrich that you'll ever see in a month for Sundays. Try to find Dick Master and you cannot. He sticks his head beneath the sand, but all the time comes out and spouts out about football being for fans, for the communities, for the cities that they represent. But this man, this gutless piece of shit, Dick Master, strikes yet again, says one thing but does quite the opposite. And I'm absolutely disgusted. Myself and Carl are going to be doing a full podcast on it tomorrow, but I just felt with everything that had been kicking off into the early evening, it needed something today, and then we can go into it and digest it a little bit more. Kyle is absolutely distraught. I'm fucking furious with the entire fucking process. We agreed to sell the club not this April, but the April before, so it's already been going on 15 months and you're asking about a 7-month extension, and I just cannot see how anybody in their right fucking mind would want to hang around another 6, 7, 8 months just to see they've just bought, that's the Saudi PIF, they've just bought into the McLaren racing team, done in no time at all. And I'm sure that if this was a Manchester United and Arsenal, anybody else but Newcastle, and it would have been done and dusted and sorted. You saw all the Saudi advertising over the British Grand Prix at the weekend. They've been heavily involved in the boxing, they've got the golf, the WWE, they're involved in Disney, Facebook, so they're across social media, they're into some of the most major corporate companies and clientele around the world. But for some apparent reason, for this club that we keep getting told isn't a big club anymore, it isn't this, it isn't that, it isn't the other, but we, for some reason, cannot have this takeover. You find people and agendas coming out to talk about the Newcastle takeover. When it comes to a McLaren or something like that, it is simply not the case. And I just think now that will be it. They will go on and they will find somebody else to buy. They cannot surely continue to wait as the Premier League kicks it into the long grass. They cannot. And if they go to an Italy, if they go to a Spain, if they go to a Germany, they're going to be able to walk in and buy pretty much who they want. And we're going to be sat there with our thumbs up our asses looking at what could have been, when you consider the investment for the region that this is missing out in, the city, the infrastructure, the football club, the stadium, St James's Park in the heart of the city, on the players. It's just so fucking maddening. And it gets to the stage now we've got another season of Bruce Ball. The football's going to be fucking awful again, we know that. No investment into the playing squad. 10 million quid on a couple of loans here, there and everywhere. The begging bucket out for Newcastle when you've got newly promoted clubs going out and sloshing money left, right and fucking centre. We've got an owner who's washed his hands of the football club. We've got buyers who want to buy but are unable to buy. And there seems to be no wiggle room with regards to the makeup of the consortium. So you got Mike Ashley disinterested, not willing to put any money into it, seemingly unable to finance a recruitment drive, whether that be an overdraft or whatever. And Newcastle stuck in this state of absolute fucking dog shit football, risking losing our best players. You've already got ASM tweeting out little things of being unhappy about stuff. You've got players like Callum Wilson, Miguel Almiron, who are not going to wait around and just fight relegation battle after relegation battle after fucking relegation battle. It needs to end. It needs to be put a stop to it. It really, really does. I'm looking forward to discussing it tomorrow on the podcast with Kyle, but I feel absolutely fucking numb. We'll be at the Doncaster game, but I'd imagine the atmosphere is going to be quite toxic towards the Premier League, and in particular Richard Masters, who just seem to take great pleasure in fucking the Newcastle fan base over. They really, really do. I just can't see anywhere forward. Mike Ashley is not going to open the checkbook, and without serious investment, we are, it's the old saying: if you don't invest to move forward, you don't stand still. You actually move backwards. And the clubs, even the likes of Watford, who are tipped for relegation, even they are going to be looking at the situation and thinking, can we do something? Can we stay up? They'll be looking at our plight and thinking that's a potential team who could go down. And then if you are in the Championship, there's no guarantees about takeovers. So it's a gutting time to be a Newcastle fan. Nothing to look forward to. No players. No thought of any new players really being brought in. Even like Joe Willock. If you're Joe Willock, you could go to any of the top 10. Why would you want to come to Newcastle and fight relegation once more if it isn't for the love of the fans? Attendances are going to be affected. The atmosphere. The already disgruntled fans with the likes of Steve Bruce, and Steve Bruce keeps coming up with his bullshit when we're balls deep in a relegation battle in January, February, with dwindling crowds, with being knocked out of the cups, etc., etc. Are we really that good of a look and a fit for a takeover at that point? The ideal time to do it is in the summer, of course. Then you can invest in players, get the right sort of players, and really push up the league. But this minimum 7 month delay, really, it does nothing for us, and I'm absolutely gutted for each and every Newcastle supporter who were just so desperate for a little bit of success. And you sit there and you thought, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be fucking true that Newcastle could be the richest club in the world. That we could go up there and we could bloody a few noses, we could shake the establishment. But clearly the Premier League, the cartel of the Premier League, is all about maintaining the status quo, maintaining and keeping happy their paymasters in Manchester United's, your Liverpools, your Tottenhams of the world, your Manchester Cities of the world. They don't want it changing. It's all about keeping it good and keeping it fresh, ready for your Manchester Cities and Manchester United and Tottenham's and Chelsea's and so on and so forth to have another crack at the Champions League. It's all about spitting polish and PR and how it looks, and you don't want unfashionable clubs stepping up to the table and altering that, and that is how it comes across. And of course the Premier League, despite what happened recently down with the protests at London, refused to even speak to the fans. The trust contact them, but really what sort of clout have they got in respect to anything? It doesn't matter whether it's a 16-year-old lass going there, they won't speak to her. It doesn't matter whether it's politicians, they won't speak to them. Celebrities, they won't speak to them. it is an absolute cartel, and it is sickening and disgusting. And you would have imagined that after the issues with the European Super League, they would have learned the lessons. But clearly, this evening proves that they have not learned anything, and it shows so clearly what is ruling it and how this crooked organisation is being run. There's no other word for it, and social media at the moment is awash. NUFC and NUFC takeover trending at the top on Twitter. No surprise about it. Fans gutted. And it's just the situation now. You go into the football now and want to catch up with mates, have a chat. It's not for the football. 5 at the back for fucking York. The club's in an absolute fucking mess. We're selling players for peanuts who maybe have been of use to the club this season. We've got strikers who can't hit the side of a barn door. We've got injuries left, right and centre. Players isolating because of COVID. We've got tired training ground, tired infrastructure, useless management. Let's hope Graham Jones gets back and can work some magic and try and settle things down, because it is a gutting evening once again to be a Newcastle United supporter. Always getting fucked over, always getting the shit end of the stick. This would not happen at a Manchester United. It would not happen at any other of those so-called established bigger teams, as Steve Bruce likes to call them. Even your Evertons of the world wouldn't be shit on from such a great height that Newcastle have had this evening. But yeah, I thought I'd put a quick thing out tonight. We will go across it, we will dissect it, we will look at where we are maybe able to go from now, what's going to be happening. I've seen a few murmurs on social media tonight saying that basically some of the evidence that Newcastle put forward couldn't be used because of the way that they got that information, so that's having to be looked at again. And I've heard bits and bobs about then there isn't much other information there, so there's a bit of a black hole. So it's time, and it's been agreed by Newcastle, so it's not just the Premier League. Newcastle have agreed to this, and I find it unbelievable that we would do this, and we can only hope and pray that the club now communicates with the fans and let us know what is the plan to be able to compete in this Premier League, to be able to compete in a cup competition this season, because the club is in an absolute clusterfuck of a position. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Any questions ready for the podcast tomorrow night. Hopefully Carl's feeling a little bit more gathered and composed and able to pick it to bits, because he's absolutely fucking gutted, raging, and yeah, just like every single one of us. You know, you're looking at season ticket renewal time, you're looking at new shirts that have just come out, and you're seeing people left, right and centre saying, I'm going non-league, I'm doing this, I'm boycotting, I'm not going to be going to every single game next season at St James's Park. And it's gutting, it's absolutely gutting that they have ripped the heart and soul out of this football club. And since that man, Dick Master, walked in and waltzed into the Premier League, there has been shower of shit after shower of shit, and the personal vendetta with him, his mates, his cartel and his media buddies, it needs to stop, it needs to be exposed. But nothing's going to happen, because Boris Johnson, he hasn't got a set of balls. Oliver Dowden won't do anything, says all the sound bites, tries to make it sound good, but when it comes to the nuts and bolts of the problem and the situation and the urgency, time and time again, these people turn the other cheek and do fuck all about it. So let me know what you think down below. Any questions for tomorrow, we'll look to answer them, and certainly put our opinion across tomorrow night. So look out for that across the social media for Magpie 24/7. The podcast returns tomorrow. We'll get that done early evening, out straight away. So let us know what you think about that. Questions down below. Take care. Try and keep it tuned. We've got a game coming up shortly that we'll be at against Doncaster. Fuck it, and fuck it. Who knows who'll be playing? And it'll probably be a bunch of fucking kids by the time we get there, with how things are working out and stuff like that. But what a time. Lost our managerial prospect in Rafa Benitez going to Everton. We stuck with Brucey, we stuck with no budget, we stuck with the players that we've got. we're going to be counting on the likes of Jeff Bastard Hendrick and Emil Kraft. Dwight Gale to score you 20 goals? Who fucking knows, eh? Crazy times, shit show, but take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.